Tonight, we dedicated this game to a huge cause that's for our city. Put the guns down. That's huge. They coming out here to watch us ball. No, they do not score. Not one touchdown. No. Let's light fire to their asses.
LFL football night in the Windy City. Hello, fans. Welcome inside the booth of LFL football night. As always, Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. A little bit later, Desi Mitchison down on our sidelines. Bobby, here we are. Not a marquee matchup, Omaha versus Chicago. Not a game necessarily you would circle at the beginning of the year. And a pair of teams that have really come off very polar opposite games. Chicago dismantling New England, and then Omaha, as usual, imploding against Atlanta. So what are the keys to this game?
Well, the key word is respond. How do these teams respond to their last game? Chicago, how do they respond after playing just a week ago? And for Omaha, they had a 77-0 beatdown against the Atlanta team. How are they going to come back tonight? I don't see it happening, but we're going to see.
Now, another aspect of this is going to be the defense, right? When you think of defense, you specifically think of Chicago football. Just over a week ago, unfortunately, the football world lost Buddy Ryan, the architect of the 46 defense here in Chicago. Now getting back to the Chicago Bliss in the LFL. Talk to us about this new form defense.
That Chicago NFL team in '85 was the best I've ever seen. And this Chicago Bliss defense you're going to see tonight is one of the best I've seen in the LFL. I've been with you since day one as a coach and now as an analyst. And this team is rock solid on defense. Up front, two of the best of all time. Yashi Rice, Chantel Taylor attacking the quarterback. Kristen Morrison in the middle having an outstanding season. And the secondary is untouchable. I don't think they're going to have a bad game at all tonight.
Yeah, and you go back to the opposite side on offense. You're talking about an offense that's finally gaining an identity with Jacinda Barkley at quarterback. Defensively, you talked about it. The standout has got to be Kristen Morrison, the rookie middle linebacker. So if you're the Omaha Heart and you're coming off a monster loss to Atlanta, then you're coming into a jigsaw here against Chicago, you're going to probably have a tough time. For a closer look at this struggling Heart franchise, we go down to the field with Desi Mitchison.
Thanks, guys. When teams go through humiliating losses, like Omaha Heart's Week 8 loss to Atlanta, those moments in the days following present an opportunity for coaches, but most importantly, for veteran players to step up and take initiative of their team. For Omaha, that person is Shaylin Durham, who embodies what a competitive athlete should be made of. Veterans like Shaylin and Lindsay Noble, who have been with this franchise for a number of years, realize that they're at a crossroads for tonight's game. They can either rebound and resurrect their season or simply live up to everyone else's expectations of this team and roll over. I asked Shay to give me one word to summarize the mindset of her team coming into tonight's game, and it was resilience. Only time can tell. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Desi. That sets the scene. It is the Omaha Heart versus the Chicago Bliss. Kickoff is next. Back to LFL football night. Before we get underway, let's go down to the field.
Thanks, guys. We're moments away from kickoff, and I am with legendary Bliss running back Christelle Harris. Christelle, this team fell short of your goal in 2014 for your third championship banner. Does this team have what it takes to win it all?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have what it takes. We have the coaching staff. We have the city of Chicago behind us, and we are ready to go.
Awesome. Good luck in the first. Over to you.
Great news for Chicago that the Ferrari, Christelle Harris, is back in action tonight, coming back from an injury. In fact, she went up to Coach Hack and said she has to play tonight, and here she is.
They certainly have a pair of great backups in case Harris couldn't go. You mentioned it, Javille Thompson in the pregame show, as well as Shabria Civilian. And now to get us underway, that's Shaylin Durham of the Omaha Heart sailing it out of bounds. Carla Kosak back to get it as Chicago now takes over from the 15-yard line.
Not a good start for Omaha, kicking the ball out of bounds. Chicago gets it in great field position. I'm really anxious to see Jacinda Barkley and how she plays tonight.
Barkley, the first-year quarterback from LFL Australia, played with the New South Wales Surge, won a championship in Australia, and that is the reason she's back here in Chicago. Look at those numbers.
Really solid, 17 out of 37, 7 touchdown passes, and this is her first year playing LFL US.
Here's Barkley showing you what she can do with her legs, gaining a pair of yards. That is a dual threat quarterback with a strong arm and great mobility. Barkley really developing as the leader of this offense as we meet their starters.
AJ Johnson, wide receiver.
Shabria Civilian, wide receiver.
May Gamble, tight end.
Dina Fagiano, tight end.
Stephanie Murray, center.
Ferrari Harris, the running back.
Jacinda Barclay, quarterback.
Set go!
Really anxious to see this passing combination of Jacinda Barkley to A.J. Johnson.
This time they're going to go to Shabria Civilian. We talked about Civilian out of the backfield, but now a 21-yard pass connection, setting up Chicago inside the Omaha 12.
Shabria Civilian, a great all-round athlete. Now that Harris is back at running back, they put Civilian out to be the bookend of A.J. Johnson at the wide receiver position.
And talking to offensive coordinator Jim Bruner of Chicago, he mentioned this is the most complete offense, the most balanced offense they've had since 2009. And now Barkley under center. A 1st and 10 play handoff to Christelle Harris. And Harris getting to the outside, gaining 6 as we meet the defensive starters for Omaha.
Lauren Fogel, your strong safety. Alexis Wagner, free safety.
Amanda Hogan, corner.
Nikki Bernhardt, cornerback. Shalyn Durham, linebacker. Stephanie Bear, D-end. Deja Phillips, defensive end.
Linebacker Shalyn Durham has to find a way to stop the Ferrari Harris.
And speaking of number 13, that was way too easy. A 6-yard touchdown run. That'll get Chicago on the board early.
Omaha's defensive back, specifically the corners, are weak and lazy on the run. She goes outside. There should be a cornerback right there. There's nobody there. Great blocking by Chicago. And the Ferrari Christelle Harris hasn't skipped a beat.
In case you're wondering, this Omaha defense gave up a staggering 77 points to the Atlanta Steam.
It seems like they have that Olay defensive system in right now. They just can't stop anybody.
And to add insult to injury, their defensive coordinator didn't even make the trip for Omaha.
That's scary. Shalyn Durham is calling the defensive shots right now. The first time she's ever done that. She's a veteran, but it's really kind of crazy they're letting her call the defenses.
Head referee Tom Hugg.
False start on the offense, number 10.
That looks to be a false start on Chicago. That'll set them back 5 yards. They're still going for a 1-point conversion. Remember, folks, in the LFL, you can go for 2 points from the 3-yard line or choose to go from the 1-yard line for a single point.
That has always been the problem over the years, even during their championship years, is the silly mistakes. Here it is, extra point, they got momentum, and they go off sides.
Barkley under center from the 6-yard line, dropping back to pass, looking to the end zone, and overshoots her target. That was intended for Shabria Civilian. So Omaha does hold on the extra point. The score will remain 6-0.
That was there. Civilian should have had the ball. She was open. She slipped making a cut. The ball went behind her, but a good throw by Barkley.
Omaha now taking over. That's a look at Lindsey Howell, who is named the starter in the preseason, has had a tough season thus far.
The problem is she has some skill. She's not a great arm, not a great runner, but she doesn't have a lot of help around her, so she can't do it all by herself.
Howell yet to throw for a touchdown pass and throwing for an interception, and has the worst QBR in the league. Now dropping back to pass. Over the middle, has a receiver, and that should have been caught. Pass intended for Brenda Pavelka, the converted center.
Exactly what we were just talking about. A high snap, number one. Hal caught the ball, stepped up in the pocket, delivered a great pass. Pavelka just dropped it.
That was Tamar Fennell in coverage. Fennell coming over from the former Cleveland Crush. Feels she can win a championship here in Chicago. A 2nd and 10 for Omaha. Ball remains at the 15-yard line. Receivers flanked to both sides. From the shotgun, Lindsey Howell. A great slant pattern by Vanessa Regis, could not haul it in as we meet the starters for Omaha.
Lindsay Noble, wide receiver.
Marissa Mitchell-Riley, your receiver.
Vanessa Regis, center.
Sarah DiGregorio,
tight end.
Brenda Pavalka, tight end.
Nikki Bernhardt, running back.
Lindsey Howell, your quarterback.
To have any success, this Omaha offensive line has to figure a way out to block Chantel Taylor and Yashi Rice.
They did a great job there creating a pocket for Howell, and Howell finding Brenda Pavelka. That was complete for 6 yards.
That's what they have to do. We talked about it before the game with Coach Tony Doremus. They have to have a blocking scheme somehow to cut down these defensive ends.
Here's a key 4th down early in this game. Considering how Omaha's played this season, they have got to keep pace with Chicago. And Coach Keith Hack knows that, also the defensive coordinator for Chicago. Howell now hurrying up to the line of scrimmage. They're going to try to hand off. You could see that does not look very fluid. And great convergence by that Chicago defense, led by Kim Perez.
A lot of confusion in that Omaha offensive huddle. They couldn't even call the play. You saw they were all confused at the line of scrimmage. And then quarterback Howell turned the wrong way. Not a good call. You need 4 yards. And they do a dive play up the middle. Not good at all by Omaha.
And here's an error you cannot make in this league. You cannot give an offense like Chicago a short field.
Not at all. If I know Keith Hack and offensive coordinator Jim Bruner, they will go for the jugular right now.
A 1st and 10, ball at the Omaha 22-yard line. Great field position for this Bliss offense. That's A.J. Johnson in motion. Big pressure on the edge, trying to connect with Carla Kosak. And Shalyn Durham just levels Kosak. We've got Durham mic'd up. Listen in.
Durham is the most outstanding player on that Hart defense. Coach Doremus is having a problem finding people that are on the same mission as her on that defense. Great player, bad pass there by Barkley.
Barkley sending Kosak to the hospital if she keeps that up. Now Barkley in the shotgun. A deep drop, looking down the field. Good coverage by that secondary, but now finding a receiver. And that is the aforementioned Carla Kosak. Kosak getting her first start with this Bliss offense.
Kosak has a lot of talent. Coach Hack really thinks she has an upside to her game. But what protection up front by Stephanie Murray, May Gamble, and Dina Fagiano. She could have stood in the pocket all day long, and she did until Kosak got open.
Barkley showing a lot of patience in that pocket and finding Kosak for a 21-yard connection. Setting Chicago up at the 1-yard line of Omaha. And here comes the Ferrari, just as ordered, and she walks into the end zone. Christelle Harris with a pair of scores early.
Harris looking good right there. The corner comes down, tries to hit the Ferrari one-on-one, but that's not going to happen. You cannot tackle the Ferrari Harris one-on-one. Chicago's off to a great start.
You could see the numbers on Christelle Harris in 2015. Has not had a great start here this season, but frankly, they haven't needed her.
I think this is going to be great for her career. She's already had a really long career in the LFL, but she's not going to take the pounding that she did in previous years.
That's an excellent point, Bobby. I think they accounted for nearly 70% of the offense the previous 2 seasons, going through number 13. And here's the 2-point attempt by Jacinda Barkley. Barkley converting, and that'll give Chicago a 14-0 lead.
Like your favorite LFL players and teams and receive breaking news stories. The LFL's official Facebook page, facebook.com/mylfl.
Back to LFL football night here in the Windy City. Mitch Mortaza, Bobby Huco, and Desi Mitchison. 3:50 left in the first quarter, and Chicago with an early 14-0 lead. Now a 1st and 10 for Omaha. Howell back to pass, has a receiver. That'll be intercepted. Shabria Civilian is having one heck of a first quarter. A 10-yard interception return sets up Chicago once again.
What? Come here. Let's go, AJ. Yeah, baby.
I'm going to tell you real quick.
Let's go around, AJ.
Real quick, though.
Let's go.
So you'd have thrown it farther outside, you were beaten. All right?
Listen. Coach Keith Hack is right on. There was great protection up front. Howell had all kind of time to throw it. If she leads it deep, it's a touchdown. She underthrew the ball.
A 1st and 10 for the Chicago offense, wasting no time. And that was underthrown to A.J. Johnson. We do have a flag. This could be offensive interference. A lot of flags early here in the first quarter.
That is the difference between a good defense and a bad defense. Hal underthrew her pass, and Servillian picks it off. And then Barkley underthrows her pass, and Alexis Wagner drops the ball.
That was A.J. Johnson on the offensive interference, coming back to help out her quarterback as that was underthrown. A look at Shalyn Durham, the defensive captain, also calling the defensive scheme tonight. That's a shovel pass to Christelle Harris. That should be incomplete. That's what they're going to rule it. That'll be an incomplete pass to Harris.
That's one of Chicago's favorite plays, the shovel pass. She comes underneath. She usually turns that into a big gain. But Harris, again, she's been out injured, a little bit rusty.
Chicago now facing a 2nd and 20 after that pass interference call on A.J. Johnson.
That Johnson penalty really put him in a bad position. Barkley's not used to this. 2nd and 20. They're usually going down the field attacking. Let's see what she has on this one. It's a tough call.
This offense has been labeled not having the deep ball threat. Now with the inclusion of A.J. Johnson, that's changed up quite a bit. Barkley back to pass. Good pocket. Finding a receiver. Look at Christelle Harris with the open field moves. And that'll be good enough for a 6-yard reception. Obviously not enough for a first down.
Even though Chicago got 6 yards, there was great coverage by the safeties, Wagner and Fogel.
There is the heartbeat of the defense, Shalyn Durham, having a decent 2016 season, the leading tackler with Omaha.
When I spoke to Durham earlier this week, she was really on a roll. She thought they had a shot at a big upset today against Chicago. So far, no good.
They're only down 14 points, and here comes the pressure on Barkley again. That was a late hit on Barkley, no flag, and a completed pass to Christelle Harris.
This is what head coach Tony Duramis said he had to do. Come with blitzes and make the quarterback Barkley throw the ball quick. Right there, Wagner got there a step too late, but still forced great pressure on the QB.
A great opportunity here for the Omaha defense. They don't usually get offenses in 4th down and long.
This is huge for Durham and that defense. If they can somehow stop Chicago right now, they get the ball in Chicago territory.
A 4th and 10 ball at the Chicago 22. Barkley back to pass, and that is deflected. Great coverage by Amanda Hogan as the ball will go back over to Omaha.
Exactly what the Heart needed. 14-0, they're still in this game. They stop them on 4th and 10. They have the ball in Chicago territory. Now they have to make something happen offensively.
Key field position for this Omaha offense. They've got to get some points on the board. Howell will remain in at shotgun. Ball at the Chicago 22. Back to pass is Howell. Eluding the pressure, finding an opening. And Howell gaining 5 yards. That is exactly what Omaha needs. Positive yardage.
Great athletic play by Hal, but she needs some help up front. Center, watch Regis. This is a horrible block. She tries to block the linebacker, Kristen Morrison, and doesn't even touch her. She has to get her body in front of her somehow. But other than that, great play, great positive play by Hal.
An interesting move with the Omaha roster earlier in the week, moving Brenda Pavelka out of the center position, opting for Vanessa Regis. Regis has been heavily criticized for not being physical. And here's Hal running for life again. The Chicago defense holding him to no gain. Headlined by Kristen Morrison.
You made a great point about Regis, but is it her? She's got the size, and it looks like the strength, but her technique, there's no slide technique, just a little slide technique, stay in front of the defensive player. They just don't have it on that line.
That is certainly part of it, technique and size. But this offensive line has been heavily criticized for not being aggressive, and certainly Regis fits that mold. Now a slant pass to Lindsey Noble. A great looking pass. That is a 7-yard gain. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Chicago rolling 14-0.
LFL Mobile, giving you access to the gridiron goddesses of the LFL with exclusive photos, videos, live game reporting, and fan promotions. LFL Mobile. Download on your Android or iPhone.
Next time you motherfucker get a 4 and out, all right, against this. Are you kidding me? Catch the ball, all right? Execute. This is a joke. Let's go.
Chicago head coach and offensive coordinator Jim Bruner not happy with that offense going 4 and out as Omaha now driving for the first time tonight. A 1st and goal. Howell going to roll right, getting past the first layer of the defense. Although held to no gain, that is Kristen Morrison again with a great pursuit angle.
Hal's got to learn. You cannot run outside against this team. You have to go up between the defensive ends. Both defensive ends, Chantel Taylor and Yashi Rice, they come so hard and contain outside, you can't run around them like Hal just tried.
Hal is really the only offense Omaha has had. She's shown certain sparks of life, completing to Lindsay Noble, a couple drops earlier in the first quarter. I don't think Hal's having that bad of a night thus far.
Not at all. In fact, right now, they're in the red zone. They're at second and goal. Somebody's got to make a play right now.
Howell under center, handing it off to Brenda Pavelka, the converted center. And Pavelka gaining 3 yards. That's got to be one of the critiques on the coaching side. There have been a lot of roster moves for a roster that has not been together long.
The running back that we thought had a lot of talent, Nikki Bernhardt, where is she right now? Why not give her the ball?
Not only Bernhardt, we saw Shaylin Durham. The only success they've had all season came against the New England Liberty when Shaylin Durham could not be contained in the backfield. A 3rd and goal ball at the Chicago 7-yard line. Handoff goes to Brenda Pavelka again, and Pavelka trying to get to the end zone. A touchdown saving tackle by Kim Perez.
Wow, I really think if Pavelka made a cut to the inside instead of out, she goes in the end zone. But a solid block by center Vanessa Regis. I wouldn't say block. She positioned her body in front of Morrison to make her go one way or the other, which created a big hole.
Gut check time for this Omaha offense. This is the closest they've been to the goal line. A 4th and 1. Howell under center and Brenda Pavelka in the backfield. They're going to fake it to Pavelka. This is a quarterback keeper. No chance. A great open field tackle by Kim Perez. And confusion reigns offensively.
You said fake right. QB keep right. You said QB keep right. You went to the left.
That says it all right there. 4th down in the red zone. They got a chance to score on Chicago, and nobody knows what the play call was, especially the quarterback. Hal called the wrong play.
I don't know anything about plays, Bob.
Okay, all right, okay. All right.
But I was trying to.
It's all right.
Do a fake over here.
I know you did
And
it.
go this way, but nobody was there.
It's all right. We're fine.
Let it go.
What a time to make a mistake like that. The whole team can't believe it right now. Hal said she was going to go right. She went left. There's no blocking out there, and she got stopped short of the goal line.
Looking impressive earlier in the series, but then collapsing on a 4th and 1. Keeping in mind, this is only a 14-point ball game.
That would have cut this lead in half, and you see Coach Hack, he's really upset his team already. This crowd is out of the game. Who knows? Omaha could have made a little run, but all kind of confusion in that offensive system right now.
As Chicago goes back to work, 6 yards on the first play, and now cutting back, that is Javille Thompson in the open field, and a shoelace tackle by Lindsay Noble. Otherwise, Javille Thompson is in the end zone. That is a 22-yard gain.
What a 1-2 combination Chicago has at the running back position. Harris now, Javille Thompson. She cuts back the opposite direction, almost breaks it all the way.
Thompson and Shabria Civilian, a pair of rookies last year, and Chicago's done a masterful job as developing them.
The running backs are doing great because of the offensive line. Offensive line coach Dennis DiBiase has done a wonderful job with this line.
The line has got size, technique, the complete opposite of Omaha. And that's really served Jacinda Barkley in this offense well. Barkley back to pass, rolling right, has a receiver down the field, just beyond the outstretched arms of Christelle Harris. A great attempt.
Again, I think that is because Harris is rusty. She was open, but the old Christelle Ferrari Harris would have had that. Barkley laid it out there. Harris just couldn't get to the ball.
Surprised to see Harris factor this big in the passing game. We've certainly seen her with shovel passes, but tonight they're really trying to get her in the open field.
When you split her out and you have a linebacker or even a safety trying to cover one-on-one, you just can't do it.
2nd and 10 from the Omaha 21. Barkley back to pass, a lot of time finding Harris. And that is a 12-yard reception.
They might try that all night long. One-on-one going against Durham. She's going to win 100% of the time.
How about Christelle Harris and what she's showing tonight? We know what she can do on the ground, but through the air has become a valid receiving option for this offense.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, but in previous years, you don't think so, but at the end of the year, she's always at the receiving leaders in the LFL.
A 1st and goal, ball at the 6-yard line. Handoff again to Harris, and Harris cutting inside, gaining 6 yards. That'll set up Chicago at the 3-yard line.
The defensive ends of Omaha, they need gap control. They got to control the outside, keep Harris inside, because one-on-one against Durham running the ball, Durham's got a shot to bring her down.
It'll be interesting to see how that front line of the Omaha defense contends against the size of Chicago. A 2nd and goal now. Barkley under center. The pressure coming off the edge, throwing it back of the end zone. Intended for A.J. Johnson. Give credit to the Omaha defense for applying the pressure.
Again, they came with a corner blitz. Wagner off the edge, got to Barkley. Barkley had a receiver open. She did a good job. She's getting rid of it. Almost had a touchdown pass.
Alexis Wagner is factoring into this defensive scheme now. Coming off the edge, she's had Barkley under pressure all night.
Only if she could have caught that interception, it might be a different ball game, but a good game for Wagner.
3rd and goal for the Chicago offense. Ball remains at the 3, rolling right. Barkley has a receiver. A pass and catch with A.J. Johnson, the outstanding rookie receiver.
A.J. Johnson has become a difference maker. Out pattern, they had missed coverage in the outside, wide open the end zone. Barkley delivered a strike, but A.J. Johnson is her first year ever playing football. She was a standout guard for Western Michigan, Division I. Now she's playing football, and she loves it.
A pure athlete, and let's go back to our earlier point. Omaha was on the goal line. This could have been a 14-7 game. Now Chicago's on the verge of going up potentially 22-0.
You're 100% right. On the goal line, Omaha goes in. It's a different ball game. Now they'll be 3 scores down.
Barkley under center, 2-point attempt. Wagner coming in again. And Barkley connecting with Carla Kosak. And where did Carla Kosak come from?
Kosak with a whale of a game so far. The 2 receivers did a little pick, I should say rub, not a pick play. She ended up wide open in the end zone, and Barkley threw it right to her for the extra point.
Being down 22-0, this defense is pinning their ears back. That's Lindsey Howell scrambling for life, cannot get away. That is Marissa Galladay on the tackle, and we do have a penalty. That is a big call by Tom Hugg. A 5-yard encroachment penalty on Chicago, setting up Omaha now with a 1st and 5.
You mentioned Marissa Galladay. Head coach Keith Hack thinks that she should start anywhere in the LFL. The problem in Chicago, she doesn't get playing time because, of course, of Taylor and Rice.
Look at the pressure on Howell. That was a convergence of at least 4 Chicago Bliss players. And what about Shabria Civilian? This young lady's had a heck of a ball game on both sides of the field.
She has so much speed. She comes from nowhere all the time and gets into the tackle.
No gain on the play, setting up a 2nd and 5. If Omaha's going to have any opportunity, they've got to mount another drive and, more importantly, turn it into points.
Well, they have no passing game going right now. They got to mix it up a little bit. Right now, they're going on the ground, on the ground, on the ground, and they have no points, as you mentioned.
Howell under center, taking her time, looking over the defense, and again on her back. This time, Kristen Morrison comes out of nowhere.
I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but Vanessa Regis, the center, has to put her body in front of Morrison somehow. Hal had no shot to get that ball off.
Morrison having a very impressive rookie season, alongside Jade Randall of Dallas, potentially Defensive Player of the Year, or at least Rookie Player of the Year.
She has to be one of the biggest surprises in the LFL. We knew she was good, we knew she had talent, but she is playing outstanding football every game.
3rd and 8 now, ball at the 17-yard line. Receivers flank to the right of Howell. And rolling right is Howell. Big pressure again, but finding Sarah DiGregorio. And that is an 8-yard completion. Some positive yardage for this offense. In fact, a first down. That'll officially bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Chicago. A half of football that has been dominated by the home team. Headlined by Shabria Civilian and Javille Thompson.
DonJoy, protecting LFL athletes and the game.
Back to LFL football night. Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. And a 1st and 10 play for Omaha. That's going to be intercepted. Kim Perez stepping in front of the receiver and picking it off.
Kim Perez, one of the most underrated defensive backs in the LFL. Watch her jump the route. It was a high pass, bad pass by Howe. Should have stayed low. Anytime you throw underneath in coverage, it's got to stay low. The ball floated, Perez jumped on it. Here we go again with the Chicago Bliss offense.
Most noteworthy, this is the 2nd game in 2 weeks that Kim Perez, in essence, has played with one hand and has dominated in the secondary.
She's one of those players that makes her team great. Just a great team player.
Barkley back to pass. A lot of time finding A.J. Johnson. That is a 6-yard completion. Alexis Wagner on the tackle.
A similar pass, which just got picked off by Hal, but you keep the ball low, throw it inside the shoulder pads, and it's a completion. Bring it high, it gets picked off like Perez just did.
And what about the skill set of A.J. Johnson? You talked about her being a basketball player. To be able to find those voids in the defense. Barkley back to pass. Again, A.J. Johnson. And nobody able to defend number 18.
Keith Hack pulling out the old twilly move where you come inside, then peel it back outside, throw it back shoulder, wide open in the end zone. Great route by A.J. Johnson.
What was once potentially a close game has now blown wide open. Chicago up 28-0. Now lining up for a 2-point conversion. Barkley back to pass, all kinds of time, finding Christelle Harris. And Harris converting the 2-point conversion.
Wow. Thunder only happens when it's raining. It is pouring on Omaha right now. Pouring.
Coach DeRamus and this team has got to keep their morale up. That's Lindsey Howell back to pass. Pressure on the edge. Intercepted. Shabria Civilian. Great cut inside. And she will walk it into the end zone.
Boom goes the dynamite. Civilian looking, doing an imitation of Deion Sanders. Watch her jump the football, and then she's running like Deion. Watch this move. Boom, cuts it inside. Touchdown, Chicago. Omaha is in shock right now.
A lot of fun on the sidelines of the Chicago Bliss, and not so much with the Omaha Heart. At some point, somebody's got to stand up on that roster and make an impact.
The quarterback, Hal, needs to stay on schedule. She's trying to get too much too quick, and look, it becomes a blowout. Pick six, picked off, and now it's 36-0. Wow.
Barkley now with all kinds of time. Great pursuit by Omaha. Not enough as Barkley gets in on the extra point attempt, extending Chicago's lead to 38-0.
Omaha gets people there. 1, 2, they just can't tackle. The people are there, the defensive players got there, but they have no technique on tackling.
Hal back to work, not looking comfortable at all. Dropping back to pass, pressure again. This time it's Kristen Morrison. There is absolutely no blocking up front.
How many times do we mention the name Vanessa Regis? She is not blocking Morrison at all. It's like she's playing touch football.
Another encroachment call on this Chicago defense. That is the second one of the half. What would have been a 2nd and 19 for Omaha now is a 1st and 5. Ball up to the Omaha 20-yard line. Fakes the handoff, rolling left. Lindsey Howell just does not have the speed and loses the ball.
That's just a bad play call by Coach Tony DeRamus. They call the quarterback to run outside against Yashi Rice, one of the fastest and most talented defensive ends in the history of the LFL. Not going to happen.
Yashi Rice and Chantel Taylor very quick off the edge. Lindsey Howell will not outrun either of those ladies. From the shotgun, looking down the field, she's looking to run for her life every play, and namely from number 7, Kristen Morrison.
You can tell that quarterback Lindsey Howell is scared in the pocket. She's not looking downfield first. She's looking, her eyes are on the defensive line and who's coming to sack her. She's not even looking at her receivers.
You're right. I think when you get beat up as much as she has here in the first half, the scheme is no longer in your head. You're just running for your life. And here it is again in the shotgun, quick dump off. That could have been another interception by Civilian. Instead, that was complete to Brenda Pavelka.
That's the best throw all night by Howell. Pavelka was covered like a blanket. She threw it kind of back shoulder, completed the pass.
A 1st and 10 from the 23. Moving the ball is Omaha. Again, complete to Pavelka. Time running out, though. We are under 20 seconds. And Omaha not calling a timeout. I don't understand the logic here at all.
I don't either. Right now, Tony Doremus is like his players. It's like you got to call a timeout.
Utter confusion. And this will be the last play of the half because Omaha chose to not to call a timeout. And Lindsey Howell with a quarterback sneak with 6 seconds remaining.
This is the first time I've seen an LFL coach like a deer in headlights. With all that time left, he didn't call a timeout. His team hasn't scored the whole half. You got to try to score. He let the clock run out.
Baffling, absolutely baffling. Chicago, after 20 minutes of football, leading it 38-0.
Is this what Bo Travis wanted you to do? Offense! Somebody's got to get in the right formation! We got plays being called! Get that camera out of here! Get it out! Get it out right now! Get it out!
Alex Mitch.
God damn it! This is not how we play football!
A tense Omaha locker room as we welcome you back to LFL Football Night. Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. Bobby, you've been around the LFL game as well as the NFL. Have you ever seen tension inside a locker room like that?
At any level of football I've been involved with, I've never seen a head coach walk into a locker room with a chair in his hand. As a player, how do you feel? What's he going to do with the chair? Just an unbelievable scene.
Yeah, and they're down 38-0, so that may explain some of that tension. Talk to us about the Chicago Bliss. They've looked very solid on both sides of the football, specifically offensively.
Their quarterback, Jacinda Barkley, 8 out of 13, 2 touchdown passes already. I knew about her arm. She can throw it anywhere around the field, but I was really impressed by her legs. Just a really versatile quarterback.
Yeah, the most complete signal caller Chicago's had here since the franchise started. They actually have a vertical passing game now to go alongside Christelle the Ferrari Harris.
Ferrari Harris coming off an injury. They don't need her as much as they used to. She used to be the show for Chicago's offense. She ran the ball 4 times, caught 3 passes in the first half, but with the emergence of A.J. Johnson, Javelle Thompson, this team is well balanced. They don't need Ferrari as much as they used to.
A lot of weapons, a lot of points in the first half for this offense. Let's look at some of that scoring. It started out with Christelle the Ferrari Harris with a pair of touchdown runs, one from 6-yard out, the other from 1 yard out. Then it was the outstanding rookie wide receiver A.J. Johnson snagging a pair of touchdown passes from Jacinda Barkley. Before the half, Shabria Civilian takes a 20-yard interception to the house. That brings us to our halftime score of 38-0 as we look at the halftime stats.
For the second week in a row, the only blemish for Chicago is the penalties. Clean it up, and they have to play better in the second half. Other than that, it was a great half for the women of the Windy City.
That brings us to the end of halftime. Only 20 minutes of football remaining. Say it with me.
Kickoff is next.
LFL Mobile, giving you access to the gridiron goddesses of the LFL with exclusive photos, videos, live game reporting, and fan promotions. LFL Mobile. Download on your Android or iPhone.
Back to LFL Football Night on a beautiful night here in Chicago. And the hometown crowd loving every minute of it, up 38-0 over Omaha.
As a team, you're always looking for something positive to grow on. Right now, they're down 38-0. If they keep this pace, they will only lose 76-0 as opposed to 77-0 against Atlanta.
Are you being sarcastic, Bobby?
A little bit, but positive. You got a positive thing.
You want to talk about scary numbers. Look at the numbers on Lindsey Howell. 5 of 10. That's not bad. Here comes the bad part. 3 interceptions.
3 picks out of 10 attempts. That's not good football.
Lindsey Howell looking at that scoreboard. Has a long task ahead of her. 38 points down and a handoff. That is not going to get it done. An inside handoff to Shalyn Durham.
Nothing there. Again, Morrison in the middle. You're running right at her, but I like the move of putting Durham at fullback. She's a talented athlete. Nobody else is running the ball effectively. Put her back there. Good move.
2nd and 10, and I don't think they're going to try to win this ball game, but you got to get competitive and post some points.
You're 100% right. This team has some potential. They're getting killed this week. They got killed last game, but they have talent on this team. You have to develop it.
Lindsey Howell again running for her life. You got to love the play of Kristen Morrison. Can you say enough about number 7? And there are the numbers on Howell again, being sacked 4 times in the first half.
Well, the 4 sacks should not happen. If you look at some of the better quarterbacks in the LFL, like Michelle Angel in Dallas, every time she's in trouble, she throws the ball away. That's coaching. Right now, Howell should throw the ball away. She tries to run, and she gets sacked.
Howell under center now, a nice tight bunch set. Perhaps Omaha's going to try to run the football. And we're getting an interesting report from the sideline. Apparently, head coach Tony DeRamus of the Omaha Heart is not out on the field, nor are his assistants. He's being looked over medically for a potential minor heart attack.
Wow, that is unbelievable. That's sad news. I hope it's not correct. But he was totally almost out of his mind, upset at his team for being down 38-0. Oh, our hearts and prayers go out to him. Hopefully he's healthy.
I think there's only so much you can take after giving up 77 points prior and now down 38-0 at halftime. Perhaps that's the spark this team needs.
They need something. It might. I hope that's right. I hope the health, more importantly, of Tony DeRamus is okay. But you saw him. He brought a chair in the locker room. Sounds like he smashed a chair on the floor. But I've never seen a coach at that level. And I hope it's not correct, but that's what they think it might be.
And while we were discussing head coach Tony DeRamus's medical condition, his offense went 4 and out as Chicago takes over at its own 18-yard line. Barkley under center. Chicago faking the handoff, looking down the field, has a receiver. That is A.J. Johnson. Johnson just capitalizing on what has been an amazing rookie season as we take a look at her numbers.
Just staggering numbers for a rookie. 6 receptions for an average of 20.5 yards per reception with 4 touchdowns. Here's an athlete that never played football before. Now she's developed into one of the elite receivers in the LFL.
A 1st and goal ball at the 6-yard line. Handoff to Javille Thompson, and Thompson reaching for the goal line. They're going to give her the score. That is her first score of the night.
This is the inner desire that Chicago players have that Omaha doesn't. Javille Thompson was stopped on the 4-yard line. On the 4-yard line, but saw the goal line and somehow stretched and got in the end zone.
That is an excellent point, Bobby. You're up 44-0, or at that point 38-0, and you still have the will in the drive to stretch out for the goal line. You just don't see that in Omaha.
And then Omaha, they had her stopped at the 4-yard line. Where's the other defenders? The swarm tackling. There's nobody there to bring her down.
The only defense I can come up with for Omaha for their defense is that they've been out on the field far more than their offense has.
100% right on that, but it's still the inner desire. Thompson wanted to score, and Omaha didn't want to tackle her.
Now Jacinda Barkley, she can write a book back there, no pressure, and finds Javille Thompson for the extra point. Make that a 2-point conversion. They're up 46-0.
I'm not sure that Barkley is going to have to take a shower after tonight's game. You mentioned it. There was no pressure on her all night long. It's like a touch football game. She has all day to find receivers, and then when she finds them, they're wide open.
Now, this is an interesting dynamic. The Omaha Heart are now basically a player-coach team. This has never happened in the history of the LFL.
You have Shalyn Durham on defense calling the defensive shots, now the offensive shots, along with Hal. This is incredible. 2 players taking over the coaching for an LFL team.
Hal looked impressive there. That is a 9-yard carry. That is one thing she's had some success with tonight, is running the football.
She has, but again, she has talented receivers out there. Lindsey Noble, she's a 4-year veteran. They're not even trying to get the football to her.
At this point, I think if you're the Omaha Heart, you're just trying to move the sticks consistently, hold on to the football, and stop the bleeding.
You're right. Hal has been the only offensive weapon tonight, but how long can she deal with it? She's got to try to throw the football at some point.
And she's not a big-statured quarterback, so when she takes this kind of abuse, it takes a toll. That is a pitch play to Brenda Pavelka. Pavelka's showing some decent open field moves, but no gain on the play, so it'll remain now 3rd and 1.
Pavelka's had a solid night catching the football and running it. She's become the go-to receiver for Hal if there is one. Now she's running the ball effectively.
Our standards have been lowered grossly here tonight when Brenda Pavelka becomes the go-to receiver.
If Brenda Pavelka is your go-to receiver, that means you're not having a good night. You have talent outside with Lindsey Noble and Marissa Mitchell-Riley, and they haven't seen the football all night long.
That is a threat that I saw at training camp that I've not seen develop. Marissa Riley, the speedy wide receiver, and this is Nikki Bernhardt. And Bernhardt showing some life. That is a 9-yard reverse. Bernhardt, somebody that's not been in the scheme, had a great game against New England, but has been invisible.
She played great against New England, has a lot of talent, but Nikki Bernhardt turned into Amelia Earhart tonight. I don't know why she's not in the offensive play selection.
This is an interesting dynamic. As we said before, you could see Lindsey Howell basically calling the offense in the huddle. So that's something impressive that we haven't seen before, an entire half of football being called by the starting quarterback.
Even though they're losing 46-0, this should be fun football for Hal, calling her own plays.
And look at this, a 6-yard gain. They're actually having more success now than they did when they had a head coach.
You're 100% right. Look how fired up in the huddle they are. They're getting fired up. In fact, Regis actually made a great block to open up that quarterback draw.
Perhaps that half-down meltdown has resonated with this team. They're definitely showing more life here in the second half.
They are fired up, moving the football, and they put it out of their mind that they're down 46-0. They just need to get on the scoreboard here.
If for nothing else, I think you play for the health of your head coach.
With Tony Doremus out right now with that heart problem, you're right, this team's playing fired up football.
Hal looking to take off with it again, and you could see the Chicago defense adjusting to her scrambling. Kristen Morrison on the tackle.
You mentioned Marissa Mitchell-Riley. She has speed. Right now you're down 46-0, calling your own plays. Give her a chance. Throw the ball up and give Riley a chance to catch it.
I don't even think that's the mindset right now, this Omaha offense. As I said previous, I think they're trying to pick up first downs and get themselves in a goal line position. And give credit to Lindsey Howell. She's called the scheme the entire series. A 3rd and 4 play. Howell back to pass, rolling left. And that's what she's going to do. Getting out of bounds or being tackled out of bounds. A gain of 5. That'll be enough for a 1st and goal.
Hal has put this offense on her shoulders, and they're driving the ball. They're in the red zone. That's the Keith Hack face I'm used to. He's upset about this drive right now.
You can see him very jovial on the sideline in the first half, not liking what he's seeing to start the second half.
In the first half, I said never run at Yashi Rice. Well, right there, Hal outran Yashi Rice for a big gain.
A 1st and goal, ball at the 6-yard line. Receivers flank to the left side, looking for the quick slant, not there, and sacked by none other than Yashi Rice. We actually caught up with Rice earlier.
Between the two of you, who's the better trash talker?
I would definitely say that I am the bigger trash talker, but she is the quiet riot. So Just like the way we play football together, our intimidation factor is the same. She doesn't have to say anything, and the girls are afraid, and I just like to talk a lot, so it's convenient for me. So we get the job done.
Two great players on a great defense.
A toss play to Lindsay Noble, getting leveled by Kim Perez. And that should take us to a media timeout. Through nearly 3 quarters of football, it has been all Chicago.
Warrior Black, the official eye black of LFL athletes.
Back to third quarter action of LFL football night. Lindsay Noble looking to pass, now a draw play. Noble finding out just how tough it is on the south side of Chicago.
I'm really impressed with the play selection and the leadership that quarterback Lindsay Howell is showing on this drive. She's a different quarterback playing with a lot of fire.
There's definitely an air of confidence around Lindsay Howell. Very timid in the first half and attacking in the second. This is a 4th and goal. No chance there. A horrible call by Howell as the signal caller in the absence of Tony Doremus. No coaches on the sideline for the Omaha Heart. It is completely run by the players. You can see there, not a single coach there. I have never seen that sight at an LFL game.
It's incredible. If you look at the Chicago side, they must have 7 coaches, and now with Doremus out, it's a player's game. They are player coaches.
Barkley looking to pass. Look at the arm on Barkley, and just overshooting A.J. Johnson. But the good news, if you're a Chicago fan, your quarterback has quite the arm.
Wow, last time I saw something fly like this, it had a flight attendant on it. She's got a gun.
Chicago certainly not shy to test down the field. They've seen A.J. Johnson get behind the defense, and you got to admire the moxie of Jim Bruner, the offensive coordinator. They're up 46-0, but has kept his foot on the pedal.
Jim Bruner and this entire staff, they knew coming in they were heavy favorites. In fact, they all thought they're going to win this game. They're playing looking ahead to Atlanta. They're trying to tune up this offense.
Barkley back to pass again down the field, this time connecting. That with A.J. Johnson, who, if you don't know number 18, she's on the radar.
A.J. Johnson flying by the coverage by Omaha, but it goes back to what you just said. You have a new quarterback, you have a receiver who's never played football before. They need to get their timing down just like that, especially hitting to the final part of the season.
How impressive was the arm of Barkley, not just down the field, but hit A.J. Johnson in stride.
A.J. Johnson can fly. She is going to become, as we mentioned, she's not there yet because she's so new, but she will become an elite wide receiver very soon.
A 2-point attempt for Chicago, miscommunication, as Barkley was supposed to hand off to Harris, and Harris just looking perplexed. That'll bring us to the end of the third quarter. It has been Chicago and A.J. Johnson. If you're hungry, Shalyn Durham is ordering Chinese, or she's assumed the head coach role tonight.
I believe for the first time ever, this is an LFL player becoming a coach during a game. I've never seen it. This is fun to watch, though.
Certainly not something anybody could have planned for with this organization. But when you've got only the head coach making a trip, and that head coach is feared to have suffered a heart attack, you are forced in this position.
You can't even make that up. You have a head coach that might have a heart attack, and here's your starting linebacker, and she also plays running back, assuming the head coaching role. Wow.
Now Lindsay Howell going back to her first half form, getting sacked by none other than Kristen Morrison.
Kristen Morrison, we've talked about her all night, in fact, all year. How many tackles now does she have? It's an incredible night.
Morrison on par alongside Jade Randall, as we said before, for potentially League Rookie of the Year honors. Howell remains in the shotgun, looking in the flat. That is just ugly. A knuckleball to Brenda Pavelka.
That was ugly but effective. I think she became a smarter quarterback in the second half. We talked about it, throwing the ball away. She had a heavy rush. She threw it away. Great play by Howell.
It's a sad night when throwing the ball away becomes the highlight of an offense.
You're 100% right. Not only that, she throws away, it's a positive play, and then Brenda Pavelka is your go-to receiver.
A 3rd and 11. They have got to open up this offense at some point. They are not going to do that here. That's a handoff to Mitchell Riley. The much talked about Riley that has not done much tonight, gaining 2 yards there.
It also says something about her arm strength. Here's a quarterback calling her own plays. It's 3rd and 11. Every quarterback in the world will be throwing the ball, and she does a counterplay in the backfield.
Another good point. That shows lack of confidence. If you're calling your own plays and you're a quarterback in 3rd and 11 scenarios, how are you not working it down the field?
If you let Dallas's quarterback, Michelle Angel, call her own plays, she's throwing bombs every play.
Howell just does not have the confidence in this offense, and you cannot blame her with that offensive line in front of her. This is a 4th and long, 4th and 9, running for her life. Her best friend, Kristen Morrison, sacking her for a loss. And that will take us to a media timeout. Omaha struggling in the Windy City.
Like your favorite LFL players and teams and receive breaking news stories. The LFL's official Facebook page, facebook.com/mylfl.
Back to 4th quarter action. It's the Chicago Bliss up 52-0. 1st and 10 for the Bliss offense. Jacinda Barkley from the shotgun. Here comes the pressure from Alexis Wagner. Barkley evading the rush, then Wagner, give her credit, on a 2nd attempt, finally sacks Barkley.
Wagner is one of the bright spots for Omaha. Again, off the corner blitz, she throws Barkley off her rhythm. She didn't really hit her, but she got her enough to get her down.
This Omaha defense has got to get a turnover. They need some kind of momentum going home. You cannot get back on the plane and go back to Omaha having lost this game 52-0 or worse.
I see a lot of positive sparks here in the second half, though. When the coach went out, these players are stepping up.
From the shotgun, Barkley fakes the handoff, looking to the end zone, has a receiver. That was Jasmine Caleb, the rookie wide receiver, dropping it.
What arm talent by Barkley. Flat-footed, delivers a strike to Caleb, and she's got hands like stone.
Flip sides. We're gonna twist now. I don't want the same stunts coming from the same side. Up. Slant left, twist right. Slant left, twist right. Chicago.
Shalyn Durham continuing to coach up the defense. Now a 3rd and goal for Jacinda Barkley in the offense. Again, faking the handoff to Christelle Harris, scrambling up the middle, has a receiver. Guess who? Jasmine Caleb. The previous play dropping it in the end zone, now redeeming herself.
What a play by Barkley, finding time to find Caleb in the end zone, but she might have been past the line, it looks like.
We do have a penalty flag. This could be an illegal forward pass by Jacinda Barkley. That is what they're going to call here. So the touchdown by Caleb erased off the board. Now a 3rd and goal from the 16-yard line. Make that a 4th and goal. Barkley back to pass, certainly has the arm to get to the end zone. Look at the pressure up the middle, evading rushers. That is just brute strength by number 15, but not enough for a score.
I don't know if that was great running or really shoddy tackling. This is what's going on all night with this defense. They get to the ball, but they can never bring the ball carrier down.
A pair of great stiff arms by Jacinda Barkley, but not enough to get in the end zone as Omaha will now take over on downs. An Omaha offense in desperate need of some points.
I know they lost their head coach, but right now Howell has to come up with something, either through the running game or through her arm. They need points on the board now, just for pride.
Howell handing it off to Pavelka. You could tell Pavelka's not comfortable in the running back position. The stretch play just looks out of sync.
Well, she doesn't have the speed. You can't go right at Rice like this, and Rice throws her almost back into the end zone for a safety. You can't do that play. I know she's calling her own plays for the first time, but you got to start airing the ball out a little bit.
Well, forget about the play call. Shalyn Durham is not blocking Yashi Rice. The run is to the outside, and she's blocking her to the outside.
I know. They tried it all night long. It does not work.
Now a 2nd and 15 ball at the Omaha 8-yard line as we approach the 5-minute mark of the 4th quarter. That's another handoff, this time to Brenda Pavelka again. Pavelka just cannot get past that front line of the defense, only gaining 2 yards.
And nothing against Pavelka, but I still wonder why Nikki Bernhardt is not in the ball game. She is a running back. She showed us last game, but she's not even playing right now.
A 3rd and 13 now for the Omaha offense. And if you're the play caller as the quarterback, you have got to call a passing play here.
You have to. That's what you are. You're a quarterback. She can throw. We watch her in warm-ups.
Back to throw is Lindsey Howell under pressure again, and this time fumbling. Guess who recovers? Miss everything. Kristen Morrison.
Kristen Morrison has been playing solid football all year long, but tonight she's taking it to another level. She is all over the field. Granted, Regis is not blocking her, but she is playing outstanding football.
This has been a coming out party for A.J. Johnson and Kristen Morrison. Again, you cannot give enough credit to this Bliss staff, this coaching staff, for the recruiting job they do in the offseason. A 1st and goal now. That is Carla Kosak in motion. Barkley back to pass, has a receiver. A great outside shoulder pass to guess who? Jasmine Caleb. Caleb really being targeted here in the 4th quarter.
A twin set, when they put the motion, nobody went with the receiver. It showed it was his own coverage, but Caleb, the inside receiver, went to the weakness of a cover 2, which is the corner, and she throws a strike out there before Bernhardt could get over there and cover the football.
Chicago now up 58-0 and going for the 2-point conversion.
Chicago looking solid again. I'm really impressed with this offense and more with the Chicago defense. All around, Chicago playing great tonight.
The Bliss now going for a 2-point conversion. They're not going to get the playoff. This may be a false start. I believe they're saying number 13 or 14, Jasmine Caleb, who just scored the touchdown, just committed a false start.
Chicago, this is the one bad thing they have on offense, and this goes back for years. For whatever reason, Chicago always has bad penalties and bad time. Right now, they're on a roll for an extra point, and they get a penalty like that. They got to get rid of that.
That's the fine-tuning that they're going to look to do before the playoffs. That's Barkley back to pass. Great job in evading the pressure and finding a receiver. That should have been caught by, it looked like, Javille Thompson. Our score will remain 58-0. The Bliss ahead.
You really have to like the way Barkley climbs the ladder in the pocket. She's not scared about getting hit, and she always throws the football. It's kind of like Peyton Manning. She takes a lot of hits, but gets rid of the football.
A very tough blue-collar quarterback. We've said it so many times this season. That is the exact prototype of a quarterback that head coach Keith Hack has been seeking out for so long as part of this franchise.
She really looked solid tonight. In fact, looked solid all year. Her first start against Seattle, she almost pulled off a victory.
And an interesting, with this outcome, Omaha came into this game very much so part of the playoff picture, but now falling to 1-2 and looking disheveled. You got to factor now it's a 2-horse race between Atlanta and Chicago, and the rest of the way it's really just posturing for the playoffs.
You're right. In fact, I hate to admit this, but Coach Hack was looking forward to Atlanta. He knew they're going to beat Omaha. That's how confident he was. He's using this game as fine-tuning for Atlanta.
And that's something we've seen all night. Lindsey Howell under duress, throwing it away. This could be a grounding call.
Howell had the right thought to throw the ball away, but the ball did not get to the line of scrimmage. That's why it was called intentional grounding.
We talked about Atlanta and Chicago more than likely headed to the playoffs. But in the Eastern Conference, you've got another pair of teams that are just reeling right now. The New England Liberty and this Omaha Heart franchise, now potentially not with a head coach for the remainder of the season.
I mean, it's just unbelievable what the players are going through right now. They're getting smoked every game, and then they lose their coach to a heart attack, possible heart attack, at halftime. I just can't imagine what this team's got to be feeling. I mean, the players, they have to have so much intestinal fortitude just to go on.
A 3rd and 20 now. Howell running left and just being escorted out of bounds again by Kristen Morrison. I think Morrison is going to be in the nightmares of Howell for weeks to come.
They have been together so much tonight, they might become roommates. I mean, she sacked her, it seems like, all night long in the backfield.
If Morrison is not making a play for potentially Rookie of the Year, I don't know who is.
She's played well all year long, but tonight, especially with the blocking of Omaha, she's playing incredible football.
That will bring us to the 2-minute warning. It has been all Chicago, 58-0. Back to LFL football night, and next week, it's the Los Angeles Temptation versus the Atlanta Steam.
You two remember how we practice setting off? What I want you to do is you're going to come right outside my DN on whatever side, I don't care. You're going to stay like this. You're going to block until you hear the ball release from my foot. Then go downfield. Brenda's going to line up on the left side. I'm purposely placing it on the left so she can get down there. Okay?
Shalyn Durham brings us back here in the 4th quarter. And we kind of teased it earlier, Bobby. Next week's matchup is a big one. Los Angeles versus Atlanta. If Los Angeles does not win by 35 or more points, they're going to be out of the playoffs for the first time in franchise history.
I am really looking forward to that game. The two-headed quarterback system in Los Angeles going against the Cody Hughes and that high-powered offense in Atlanta. That is going to be a fun game to watch. I can't wait.
The highlight of this Omaha offense, that is a 35-yard punt from Shalyn Durham. Again, we're highlighting things like quarterbacks throwing the ball away and punts when we're talking about your offense.
I love watching Trevelyan, though. She does remind me a lot of Deion Sanders. When she touches the football, bam, she is just gone. She is tough to tackle.
We'll see now if Chicago continues to post points or just try to run this clock out.
If I know offensive coordinator Jim Bruner, he likes to run the score up. I think he's going to keep going for the jugular.
A 1st and 10 handoff to Christelle Harris. And Harris breaking through arm tackles and getting into the end zone. Harris's 3rd touchdown of the night and bringing Toyota Park to life.
I'm telling you, she's like trying to tackle a tornado. You can't bring her down. Even if you get there, you can't wrap her up. She is so quick. Christelle Harris is back. I love it.
I think it's safe to say the Ferrari is officially out of the garage. She had a tough start earlier in the season, as we've talked about, but she's back to her old self.
She looks outstanding, and what a combination now they have in the backfield with Javelle Thompson and Christelle Harris 100% healthy.
Not to mention Shabria Civilian, who's played some running back. So they are very deep at the position here in Chicago. A 2-point attempt here by Barkley, wide open. Nobody even covering Carla Kosak. And this game has gotten ugly.
That tells you how the defensive secondary of Omaha is not coached very well. A simple crossing pattern. Nobody switches and takes the receiver coming to the middle part of the field. Another 2-pointer for Chicago.
And at this point, scoring has got to be out of the scheme. If I'm Omaha, with no head coach, no assistants, I want to get out of town.
You want to get out of town, but here you have one more chance to get on the scoreboard. Why not try to throw something deep, get on the board? You have absolutely nothing to lose.
That is another horrible pass by Lindsey Howell. Throwing into coverage, at least they're targeting the pass here at some point.
I was exactly going to say the same thing, Mitch. Finally going to Lindsey Noble all night long, a 4-year veteran, got a lot of talent. Here it is with less than 2 minutes left in the game. They finally throw it to her.
Now a 2nd and 10 for this offense. And give Howell credit, she's finally calling some passing plays here. Dropping back to pass, throwing into the flat, deep into the flat, and well over the head of Lindsey Noble.
All kinds of time for Howell back there. She had a chance to set her feet, and she just threw, again, a horrible pass. Noble's open, just didn't get the ball to her.
Despite the score, I think you've got to look at some of the positives for Omaha. Not having a coach coming out in the second half and showing some signs of life. You had Alexis Wagner. She could become a great defensive end in this league. I think offensively, I'd like to see more of Marissa Mitchell. And then Lindsey Howell has just got to develop as a quarterback and develop her confidence and be able to target people like Nikki Bernhardt and Lindsey Noble. There are some pieces here.
They have talent. We say it every time they're on the field, but they're getting blown out 77-0, 66-0 right now. But look at Chicago. They have an offensive coordinator. They have a quarterback coach. They have a defensive line coach. They have Keith Hack as a coordinator. They have a system that Omaha doesn't.
And that is something this organization is going to have to look at very closely as early as this next week. That do they have the infrastructure in place to win in this league?
100% right. You have to have a coaching staff that can deliver, not just put players on the field. They have to coach. I mean, Matt Pike, for example, he is a quarterback. He is a quarterback coach. He's working 24 hours a day with Barkley to make her a better quarterback.
Now looking to be in the victory formation is Chicago. They'll finally end the misery.
Take the knee, bitch. Just be still. God damn it.
Christelle Harris and Jacinda Barkley having a little fun there. This has got to be a really cool time to be a Chicago Bliss member. 66-0 here at home in front of your crowd. And they'll be back toward the end of the season to take on rival the Atlanta Steam right here at Toyota Park. As the seconds come off now, how impressive is this win by Chicago?
Very impressive. The offense looked sharp. But I'm going to tell you what, for Omaha, Shalyn Durham, she reminds me a lot of Los Angeles' veteran Hall of Famer, Monique Gaxiola. A lot of heart. She loves the game of football. She's out recruiting players. She is a superstar playing for a bad team right now.
It takes a lot of heart, pardon the pun, to still fight through all of the adversity they've had. And who would have thought it tonight? No coaching staff in the second half of a ball game.
Throw the score away. I'll tell you what. Both on offense and defense, there was a lot more fire in the first half. Shalyn Durham, she had that defense playing with some fire. Hal had the offense playing. They didn't score, but they played with a lot more heart than they did. I like what I saw in the second half.
Jacinda Barkley coming over from Australia and leading this team to a 2-1 record. What about that young lady? Game MVP honors tonight. Kristen Morrison leading her defense to their first shutout of the season. As we bring it to the end of LFL football night, it was a night of stars coming out in Chicago, whether it was Javille Thompson, Shabri Civilian, A.J. Johnson, or Kristen Morrison. Chicago big. We will see you next week from Atlanta, Georgia.